Gyms aren't just becoming clinics, they're becoming communities. And so are the run clubs, sauna spaces, wellness pop ups, and group fitness studios. These spaces are turning into something sociologists have a specific name for. They're becoming third places. A sociologist named Ray Oldenburg coined the term in 1989. A third place is any space outside your home and your work where people gather, build relationships, and form community. For most of the 20th century, those spaces were bars, diners, barbershops, and churches. The places where people showed up regularly and left knowing each other a little better than when they had arrived. Many of those spaces are changing, and where they're moving is directly relevant to your practice. To understand why health spaces are filling this role, you have to understand what's driving people there in the first place. Loneliness is at a documented high. Cigna's 2025 Loneliness in America report found that 67% of Gen Z and 65% of millennials reported feeling lonely. A 2024 Harvard study found that 67% of adults feel social and emotional loneliness, specifically because they are not part of a meaningful group. The Surgeon General of the United States has formally labeled loneliness an epidemic. Harvard's long-running study of adult development, one of the most comprehensive studies on happiness ever conducted, consistently shows that strong social relationships are the single biggest predictor of long-term well-being, more than wealth, more than status, more than professional achievement. People are not just seeking health, they're seeking belonging, and they are increasingly finding both in the same place. Strava reported that run clubs tripled globally in 2025. The American Council on Exercise named exercise communities as third spaces as one of its top fitness trends for 2026. A survey from the Gym Group found that 37% of Gen Z use the gym as a place to socialize, and 42% have formed friendships there. Sauna culture is following the same arc. Nordic-inspired wellness experiences, communal saunas, cold plunge socials, contrast therapy groups grew 62.5% globally from 2024 to 2025, with attendance up 32.8% according to an Eventbrite data platform. This is not a niche trend. The Global Wellness Institute put the wellness economy at $6.8 trillion in 2025 and projects it reaching $9.8 trillion by 2029. The places where health happens are multiplying, and they are becoming the places where community happens too. Here is what I want you to understand about all of this. When I told you in an earlier video that gyms were building clinical infrastructure, the implication was that you needed to defend your position. And that's still true, but the fuller picture is this. The health and wellness spaces where people are gathering, run clubs, sauna socials, community fitness studios, wellness pop-ups, are not just where your competitors are operating. They are where your potential clients are spending time before they even have a clinical need. Trust is built before the appointment. Referrals are born before anyone knows they need a referral. The practice that shows up in those spaces with a clear identity and a specific area of expertise is building a pipeline that no advertising spend can replicate. Think about how your referrals actually work best. Someone mentions a knee problem at a run club. The person next to them says, "You should talk to my PT. She works specifically with runners recovering from overuse injuries." That's literally her thing. That referral travels because the message was specific enough to be repeatable. That is the transfer test, working in a third space. Your message traveling without you in the room. The practice that is present in those spaces and whose message is clear enough to be passed along earns referrals in environments that hospital systems and gym chains are not designed to access at the relationship level. So what does this look like for a private practice owner? I want to give you 3 specific examples of how this plays out. Example 1, the Run Club partnership. Run clubs are one of the fastest growing community formats in the country. Strava's data shows they tripled globally last year. They attract health motivated adults who run regularly, often pushing themselves past their comfortable limits and regularly deal with overuse injuries, gait issues, and recovery questions. T or sports rehab practitioner with a clear niche around running injuries or performance does not need to advertise to this community. They need to show up in it. Sponsor a local run, offer free 10-minute gait analysis at the end of group run, host a post-run injury prevention Q&A, do it consistently for 3 months, and the referral network builds itself. The key is showing up with something specific to offer, not just a presence, a reason to remember you. Example number 2, the sauna and social wellness pop-up. Social wellness spaces, communal saunas, cold plunge clubs, breathwork events are growing fast and attracting a health-motivated, often high-earning demographic that overlaps significantly with the kind of client who chooses a cash pay or hybrid practice. A dietitian who focuses on metabolic health or stress and cortisol management has a natural conversation partner in the sauna social crowd. A mental health practitioner who works with high-achieving professionals dealing with burnout and anxiety fits naturally into a breathwork or mindfulness event. These spaces are not clinical, and that's exactly the point. The relationship starts before the clinical need arrives. And when the need does arrive, the person already knows who to call. Example 3, the Community Health Workshop. This one is more direct and more versatile across disciplines. Private practice owner who hosts or co-hosts a community workshop inside a gym, a yoga studio, or a women's health space, a corporate wellness program, or even a library or coffee shop is doing something the hospital system and the gym chain cannot do at scale. They are bringing expertise into the community rather than waiting for the community to come to them. A dietitian hosting a blood sugar management workshop for a local women's fitness group, a PT hosting a mobility and longevity session at a CrossFit box, an SLP hosting a voice health workshop for teachers or public speakers. Each of these creates a room full of people who now know your name, your focus, and what you're specifically good at. One event is a nice moment. Monthly events are a referral engine. Here is the strategic point underneath all 3 of those examples. The gym as clinic trend I described in my first video is real. Large wellness brands are building infrastructure that competes with private practice services. That pressure is not going away, but the same cultural shift driving that trend is also creating something else, an expanding network of health-focused community spaces where trust is built informally. Relationships form before any clinical transaction, and the right practitioner with the right message can become known in ways that no algorithm controls and no corporate brand can manufacture. Algorithms control discovery. Your practice controls the relationship. The practice that shows up in these spaces consistently with a clear identity and a specific offer is building something that a gym membership cannot replicate and the hospital system cannot reach. A community that already trusts you before they need you. If you've been following this series from the beginning, you've now seen the full landscape. The practices that are growing, the threat, the practices that are growing through it, the brand clarity move that makes a difference, and now the geography where your next client is already spending time. These are not separate ideas. They connect. A clear message carried by the right person into the spaces where the ideal client already gathers. That is a referral pipeline that compounds over time. My next video is going to go deeper on one specific piece of this, how to actually build the message that travels, the full framework behind the transfer test, and the perception gap work I do with practice owners. Subscribe so you have it when it drops. And if you're watching this and thinking, I know what community I want to show up in, but I don't yet have a message clear enough to make it work, that's a conversation I'd like to have with you. My name is Brian Butler, and I help allied health private practice owners become the obvious choice without trying to serve everyone. I'll see you at the next video.